So let me tell you about my top 5 favorite books. Now, it took me a bit to really narrow down to just 5, but these are definitely the ones I would most likely read over and over again. Now, they're in no particular order, but the last one is definitely my all-time favorite. Now, why don't I start with the most obvious, since I've talked about it on the channel before, Good Omens. Now, what I love about this book is that it takes the big concept of the world ending and really boils it down to you caring about the fact that if Armageddon happens, then Aziraphale and Crowley won't be able to be together anymore. It does a great job at that, taking a overwhelming concept and focuses it down into a small story. You don't care as much about the fact that the world is ending, you care more about their little world is ending. The fact that if Armageddon happens, yes, they'll probably go on, but they won't be able to go on together. And that's the heart of the story. And that's what it does so well. Now with this, it makes me think of the Marvel movies where it's like, oh, you know, the world's gonna end, what are our heroes gonna do? But in those, like, the stakes don't feel as threatening because you know that either it's going to be a disappointing ending or obviously our heroes are going to save the day. So it doesn't feel as gripping. You boil it down to one person's world is gonna end. Like, things will still go on, but that person's world is going to end. That's way more gripping, and you can relate to a character rather than the world. So that's definitely something that Good Omens does very well, and with a lot of humor and a great voice, and it's just, again, one of my top 5 favorite books. So next on my list is Ender's Game, which is an amazing sci-fi novel. It's got incredible, engaging characters, and our main character, Ender, is so fascinating, and you really care about his struggle to prove himself. He starts off as the underdog and works his way up through his cunning and his determination to get to the top. It's sort of set in a sci-fi military training base, and he starts off, you know, the smallest, the weakest, but he uses his cunning to become the best. And it's just a really engaging story. And there's a lot of different, like, politics and things in the background, and it's a really good setting for our main story. And this is actually one that was made into a movie. And despite my typical critique of movies made from books, I'm always worried about the movie getting it wrong and not being the right kind of, worry about it not being the optimal way to tell the story. This one did a great job at keeping the heart of Ender's Game and actually telling the story really well. So I would definitely recommend at least watching that movie, if not reading the book, because it's very engaging and very fun, and it's a really good sci-fi. It's not so much like big action and aliens, or, again, it does the great thing of taking a small story but telling a big idea. So Ender's Game is definitely one of my favorite sci-fi novels. Next on my list is Stargirl, which is a very character-driven novel. It's about a girl in high school and sort of her struggle to fit in, or more accurately, be herself despite the pull to fit in. So this one really resonated with me as a teenager. I loved how Stargirl was just her own person. She didn't care what other people thought, but still cared about the people around her. It's a very high school sort of story, but had the good message of always be yourself. So the second to last on my list is The Little Paris Bookshop, which is a great love story told through flashbacks, paired with our protagonist going on an adventure to learn how to live again. He's been sort of isolated after his heartbreak, and we see what happened in the past through the flashbacks, and we get that love story, and he sort of isolated himself and stopped living, but through events he ends up going on this journey and learning how to live again, and it's really inspiring. What I really love about it is how literary oriented it is, because our protagonist is a bookseller, and he actually has a bookstore set on his boat. So he's been in the dock selling his books, and then through events he ends up taking the boat out on an adventure, and so it's set in the bookstore on the boat, so we get a lot of literary references and discussions about books along with an actual journey, and our protagonist learns how to live again after this incredible heartbreak, and it's just a really good story. I would recommend it to anyone. So now for the final book on my list, and my absolute favorite of all time, The Night Circus. It's this magical love story where we have these two characters that are actually pitted against each other by their mentors to, like, win a game that spans years. And despite being rivals, obviously they end up falling in love, and it's that sort of forbidden love. But what's really great about it is how magical the book feels. It's got incredible visuals, and you just feel in that. You get a really good sense of that sort of mystical smoke and mirrors circus kind of feeling through all the description, and then it tells you a love story, and it's such a fun book to read. And this is actually one that I wish they would turn into a movie, because I think it would be really good with all the visuals. Like, that would just be such a fun setting and story to have in a movie, because in the book it's got such striking visuals. I feel like it would translate very well to a visual medium as well. So The Night Circus is my absolute favorite. I would recommend it to everyone looking for a good romance novel that also likes magic and mystical kind of themes, and it's just really fun. So let me know down in the comments if you read any of these and what you think, and tell me as well what your top 5 favorite books are. As always, I hope you all have a wonderful day.